You're listening to the Sonny Brown Breakdown. Now, it is time to break it down.
Welcome to episode number 18 of the Sonny Brown Breakdown, a podcast where we discuss the training, teaching, health, and education of mixed martial arts to help you find the difference that makes the difference. I'm your host, Sonny Brown, and in this episode, I talk to Alexander Volkanovski. Alex is the current UFC featherweight champion and hails from Australia, where he trains at the Freestyle Fighting Gym under coach Joe Lopez, which is located in the suburb of Windang in the town of Wollongong. We discuss what it was like as an amateur athlete rising through the ranks of Australia to become the UFC champion and how he was able to get valuable training with partners of all different abilities. Also, the mentality he adopted to help drive and motivate him to the top by building resilience and staying adaptable, and what it is like spending time training at City Kickboxing as he gives insight into some training drills and a few fight stories along the way, like the time in Guam where he had to solve the problem of a fighter who was greased up before the bout while in the middle of a fight. Now let's go to the podcast. Alex Volkanovski, the champy's here. How's it going, mate?
I'm good, my man. How are you? How you been?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Just getting through everything and just charging ahead, mate. Tenacity. That's how we do it.
Good stuff. That's it. It's the way it's got to be.
So yeah, thanks for joining me for a chat, mate. It's been a long time. That you've been on the scene in Australia, and I was thinking back to the first time that I actually saw you, and it was second fight back in 2013 against Regan Wilson. I was in Regan's corner, and I got a confession to make, mate. I got a confession to you, Joe Lopez, to the people of Wollongong, that I was the only one who thought this, so blame's all on me. But when I saw the name Windang, I legitimately thought traditional martial arts school. I was thinking, Windang, these guys must be doing Wing Chun.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Oh, there you go.
Little did I know. I didn't know Windang was a suburb. I didn't.
I get you now. Far out, eh?
You know what I mean?
You actually thought that was the gym school.
I thought that was the gym. I'm not from Wollongong.
The gym name.
And I thought that sounds a bit like Windang, Wing Chun. Okay. These guys must be doing traditional martial arts. I was luckily like the coaches of Regan, and Regan himself didn't think that. That was me on my own. But but obviously that wasn't the case, mate, because you came out there and you did some. Regan was a decent bloke. We were thinking pretty high of him, and you came out there and did some excellent wrestling, and and look, your streak just continued all the way. So I'm wondering,
yeah, man.
I know you had, your rugby-league background and you went into wrestling. I was wondering, would you consider that rugby-league background, like a traditional Australian martial art? Would that have given you a bit of that base?
Oh, yeah, man. It's, base as a fighter, but, being a fighter, being a martial art, anything, a lot of the time, like, especially in contact sports, you need to be sometimes a little bit different. Like, I was, look at the size, I'm 5'6", and I was playing prop, and I had to run at these big men. Like, if that don't make you tough, I don't know what does. So you're still building, again, martial arts, there's so much more skill involved and all that. But at the end of the day, hard work, being strong and, just having that grit and, that goes a long way. And the fact that I've always had that grit, man, being used to the big boys and being used to the hard work, getting into training and obviously, I guess you could say I always knew how to fight, but, and then I was a quick learner, but being able to just know hard work and know hard training and just being a gamer, that just, you set yourself as a good base. Like you said, you're going to have a good base going into training. And then if you just make that who you are, like, and then now when I do camps, like, I can't not be fit. Like, it would be impossible for me to go in underprepared. It's just who I am. That's who I am now. Yep. Because of them early days of just, that's all I know. That's all I know. Even when I'm told by my coaches to pull it up a bit, it's just hard for me. You know what I mean? I know it's very important. Sometimes you need, just chill. As in when I talk about like, some days you just need to tone it down because we've got, say you got a spider workout crazy. The next day, let's just do this as a, low intensity sort of just drilling. I want to get more of a sweat out and I just want to work, you know what I mean? But, it doesn't mean I'm trying to knock their heads off. I just mean, I want to get a higher pace and I want to keep doing more and more. And they're like, hey, relax, or they even tell me, oh, that's enough. You can go home. I was like, no, I'll do a couple more. Like even fight week, I've just got Joe Lopez, the coach telling me to ease up. You've done enough. Yeah. You've done enough for today. It's just who I am.
Oh, definitely. And we've seen that, as you've come up through the ranks over here. I don't think anyone would doubt your hard work. And I just heard you mention this spider drill because it's something I've heard that you City Kickboxing boys do. And I actually heard a story. I mean, maybe you can start off just explaining what that drill is, but I heard a story that apparently there was one time where they said, stop the spider drill. And you just kept spear tackling everyone and wouldn't stop. What's the go with that?
Well, it was because it's chaos. Honestly, that workout is chaos, and it's meant to be chaos. It's a fight simulator, so it's however long your fight goes for, right? So if you're doing 3 5-minute rounds, it's 3 5-minute rounds of absolute chaos. And when I say chaos, I mean you are gonna go to breaking point, 100%. It's not. You cannot smash this session. You cannot make this easy. It's not how it works. We get you to, you are going to start buckling. You are going to struggle to get back to your feet in between the reps that you need to do. You are going to lose in it's like you against 5 people and, they're not trying to smash you, but it's just very, very, very high intensity. There's lactic. There's, body weight throwing and, you've got to use strength. There's technique still, you've got to go do wall work there's so much involved. And whilst everyone is just going nuts, especially when you're getting close to a fight, the atmosphere is incredible. That's a big part of it. We want to get that adrenaline kicking as well. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's fight simulator. So we're trying to hit all angles. And, it's just, it really does hit in. And I couldn't even hear the timer. So I'm going and then, Joe's like 10 seconds and I'm tackling and people are walking. And then 5 seconds, and then I can't hear. You can see the video, and that's happening. And then he calls time. But everyone's, like I said, everyone's going nuts. Yeah, because I'm picking up, because I knew it was getting close. So I just started picking the boys up, because this is my last spider before I fought. So I'm picking the boys up and dumping them. Like if that was the last one. They just walk at you, and you just need to spear tackle them, and they just keep going. You just start. So I'm lifting them. The crowd, like when I say the crowd, sorry, the boys are just. The teammates and everyone in there is just going absolutely nuts. So you can't hear nothing. And then everyone's come in to celebrate. Yeah. I took one down. Everyone's laughing. Oh, he took them out. Then more people come to celebrate. I'm taking more people. I literally took down 2 people after the time was done just because, I couldn't hear nothing. And they were just coming in there. Yeah, we've done it. Camp's over. Once you've done your last spider, fucking the rest is easy, mate. That's what it's like. So everyone's like, yeah, you did it. And I'm just fucking spearing them. So it was good. It was good fun. Not fun. I wouldn't say fun. It's good. It's good fun to look at now.
It's a good moment. Good moment to reflect back on, eh?
Good moment. Yes. That's the word.
That's nice. That's nice. And so one of the other drills I see you guys doing and over in City Kickboxing, and maybe it started, at Wollongong as well, is the King of the Wall drill. And you guys, you got a little trophy that you guys will win and it's a perpetual trophy, I think. And can you explain to me, what that drill involves and how you guys have come up with that?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's just, they do, they had a belt, City Kickboxing. We've always done King of the Wall, King of the Mat, wrestling. I guess everyone, a lot of gyms will do King of the, they're just the man, whoever's winning stays in type thing. So, and you do that with, we usually do it with, wrestling and war work. We've done that for a while. But, City Kickboxing do it, and they do it with a heap of them. So they get a few people on the wall. They'll get 5, 6 people on the wall, or however many there is. That people just go in, and then the people with the most, rounds, or they went through the most amount of people get the trophy. And it's hard work, mate. I said, especially when you're competitive. So when you're, not just competitive, when you're reasonably good as well, you're winning. So everything's a battle. Even if you're not winning, it's a grind. So sometimes there's guys that have done, they go for about 25, 30 minutes. Some people, because it's competitive and they're evenly matched, they've went the whole 25 minutes. You know what I mean? So we've got other guys you might get an easy run and just get guys that are smaller than you or whatever it is. And then there's two beasts that just go at it the whole session. So, and then literally they were there for like 25 minutes just trying to get each other down. So they were never going to win the belt. So sometimes it's a bit of luck as well. A bit of luck you've got to get a good run. Yeah. Sometimes you go and then you'll get a couple good runs and then you'll just, you'll get someone hard. But sometimes you're like, oh, look at this guy. Like, and you're not talk, I don't want to sound like an easy run and saying people are easy, but I mean, at the end of the day, you've got high-level professionals that are 3 times the weight of this person. Sure. Okay, it's going to be a bit easier for him. I'm not knocking this guy, but he's half the fucking size. Yeah. So, you get what I'm saying. But I mean, it's good. It's real competitive. We usually do that towards the end of the week. Yeah. Okay. So, it's hard. Like, again, even though I'm small, I verse people, like, woolwork's my thing. I mean, I'm really strong there. So, even I've got to verse guys twice the size of me. I'm still very, very competitive there. And it's hard work. And the schedule we got already it's a nightmare, man. It's hard work. Like, I have nightmares about the fight camps and stuff like that. No, not really, but I mean, it's hard work. And then you got that session where some people can be like, oh, it's not that hard. And then for some, it's killer, unless you just let people win. But it's not in me. Like I said, I ain't going to let that happen.
Fair enough. So with that competitiveness going on then with the war work and so many people, if it's just everyone in there together, how you guys keeping track of who's taken down who? And do you ever think someone maybe just like,
Yeah, I reckon some people might sneak in a couple extra. They might say it's usually up to the person. But, while you're going, obviously you've got people watching. So there's a lot of people that sort of know anyway. And then you've got the coaches watching. And then they're asking every couple of, every few minutes, what are we on? And then they're like, oh, I'm on 2, whatever. So it's pretty easy for people to keep track, But in saying that, there's been some conversation, there's been some arguments where people didn't agree with certain things. Like people like, oh, this is like, oh, bullshit, you said that, blah, blah, blah. And but sometimes you get a draw and then you've got to do the 1v1 with the 2 guys that done a draw. So.
Oh, in the Thunderdome, just 2 guys in the middle.
Just 2 and everyone goes nuts. Pressure's on.
That's gold. So, a big thing, I guess, from, as an Aussie coming up fighting on the local scene, there's a big idea that you would have had to have gone overseas to get your proper training. You got to go to America. That's it. That was all it. Especially for wrestling. You were lucky enough, I guess, to wrestle in Australia. And is that, you wrestled, I guess, in Illawarra. Was that, where exactly were you doing that? Was that Illawarra PCYC? Because there's not that many places around, right, to do it.
No, not many at all. So Lake Illawarra, PCYC. That's where I did it. And I started doing that because they had a games night. So they did that for, like, it was just a youth club. So, they just done a games night. Anyone could go. But then because they have a wrestling clinic there, that was a part of the activities that you got to do. You wrestled towards the end of the night. And I went there and done all right. And, then Don Brown, his name is, the wrestling coach, he comes, he's going, oh, you should give it a crack. Like, you go pretty good. So again, I've always had like that sort of, I've always been strong and I've always been a goer, you could say, like I said. But, when I did that and man, I was actually pretty good at it. But I mean, I wanted to play football with, football with my mates. Yeah. I went, cause I think, man, I can't remember, honestly. I don't know if it was like 1 or 2 years. I've done a couple of years. I know I'd won a couple of national titles, so I'm guessing it was around 2 years.
Okay.
But, I'd train and then I was competing and, mate, I was doing really well. But just, I don't know, I wanted to hang out with mates, play football with the mates, and got over wearing tights, as I always say, got over wearing the tights.
Yep.
So, and now I wear tights anyway, so, it doesn't matter. But
yeah. I hear you. I do say the tights are a sport killer in Australia. Wrestling's never going to take off here with the tights, mate.
Well, that's it, man. It's true. It's not big here. You're right. It's not big. And, I understand, like what you said with that question, where there was a lot of people when I first started training, and I started getting, pretty good. A lot of people are like, oh man, you need to go to America. I'll tell you why. And look, I'm not, they're not hard. Like you want to sit there and be like, nah, fuck you. But it ain't like that. You know what I mean? It ain't like that. It's just they think they don't know any better. Everyone thinks that the grass is green on the other side. And,
Right.
and don't get me wrong, it was very big over there. And earlier on, but it goes a lot, it's a lot more than just having crazy. You need training partners. Obviously, you need competitive training partners, and obviously good coaching and that. So you want all that, but there's still a lot more as well. Like you can go to gyms like that and it can not work at all for you. If anything, it could go worse. I know people that, you train with a bunch of killers and you're trying to get better. Say you're sort of getting better. You're sparring with a bunch of killers, and then you wonder why people get hesitant. You wonder why, how do you get better when, you're sparring against something? Every time I try something, I get my head fucking knocked off. You know what I mean? Every time I want to shoot, they just sprawl these hips and I never get them because they're fucking better than me. I'm just a beginner. These guys are better. How do you get better? You know what I mean? So sometimes it is very important to train with all levels, even at the highest level. Even now at my level, I want to train with all levels. Obviously, you need that competitive training. Don't get me wrong. But you want to be able to, if you've got to work game plans and things like that, and you constantly versing guys that know your game plan or that are really, really good and know your game anyway, now how do you start incorporating that in your sparring and things like that? You know what I mean? The thought process is going to be a little bit different because every time he shuts me down because he knows exactly what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So it goes a lot deeper than that. And, I know I can see why people would say it. But again, now we've got so many good gyms over here.
It's great.
It's changed. So now we've got some of the best fighters in the world over here. So now people understand we don't need to.
Yeah.
There was a time where, maybe you could say we were a little bit more behind, but I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that now at all.
No, definitely not. Just to focus in on that one thing where you're saying that, people just keep shutting your game down. Do you think, or, they could or whatever. Do you think that's because, if you were to go overseas and something like that, they're going to see you as the outsider and, try and, they're in competition with you. Whereas if you're in your home gym, so to speak, where people have your back, they're going to help you work and help you grow and develop. Is that part of it?
Yeah, look, again, there's always, you are going to get good training partners. But again, but a lot of people, but that's what I mean. I'm just trying to show you the headspace people are in, or how they think. It's like, oh yeah, iron sharpens iron. Is that's how you say it? You know what I mean? And I get it. It's true. But you know what I mean? You got to have balance. That's that's mainly what I'm trying to say. Obviously you can go to these gyms. They're going to still obviously pull back for you. You know what I mean? But again, a lot of these things, they're not going to, some people can be competitive. They're probably not going to give you a takedown, or they're probably not going to let you land a punch. They'll take it easy. They won't bash you, but it's going to be hard for you to work things. They're going to work. Look, again, that's why I like training with guys, at a lower level than me, as well. So when I say lower level, I might be better than somebody, but I don't mind training with them because I can work things. All right. Today, I want to work that distance. These guys, I want to make them miss and touch them. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hit them hard, but I can really work. I can really play the inches game with them, or the millimeters game. Really, just find little details that you can work on training with all different levels, no matter what it is. Then you're going to get some killer where you're like, all right, I need to use everything, and I need to be careful what I do, and I need to really set this up. You know what I mean? I need to constantly keep him worrying about what I'm doing. Little things like that. And, but, when you're training with other guys, it's like, all right, I'm just, there's so many more things you can work on to develop your game.
Yeah. Okay. I hear
that makes sense. You get what I'm saying with that?
I hear what you're saying. It's like you need people that will give you a range of different looks so you can develop different areas and be willing to work in, in cooperating with you so you can both grow and develop. And it's not just where, survival of the fittest every night and you're only going to have to use your A game. You can't grow and try something new because they're just going to shut it down and not let you grow. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. But I mean, and if this is constantly happening, like if you are constantly just, you're training with guys that, it's hard to really explain. Like, I mean, I might, there's certain combos that I'm working on. Say I'm drilling combos. And, I want to work on that in sparring. But again, I'm trying this on guys. I can't get in near them. They just smash my leg every time. You got what I mean? Or whatever it is. I get taken down every time I do it because they're obviously a lot better than a lot better than the person. And so then this is constantly happening. You probably don't notice it, but it's constantly happening. And then you start, oh, no, I don't want to throw that combo. Oh, I won't do this. I won't do that. You know what I mean? So you're not thinking, oh, if I throw this, I'm going to get punched in the head. It's just getting built into you. Every time I throw this, I get hit. So I don't want to throw that no more. But I go, and you fight someone on your own level, you're probably landing that. It's probably working. And not only that, these guys know your game. They know what you try and do. So that's why, like you said, training with as many different shapes, sizes, styles is key. And I've always been a big believer of that, me and Joe. So Joe has always been happy for me to train with other guys. And that's why, man, you need to adapt to what's in front of you. And to do so, you need to, that's why in the gym, mate, I am adapting every day in the gym. Like I've done it from the early days in my career where I'm training with different guys and I don't know their game. I don't know these guys. I go in there and I need to adapt. I need to find out what's going to work. So I'm so used to doing that there's no surprises come fight time. And I honestly believe that because I do adapt very well in the cage. And, there's times where I go in a fight and I'm thinking it's going to go one way. It turns out going a complete opposite way. Just purely from feeling it out, touching. Obviously you got game plans.
Yep.
But I mean, I thought I was going to go this direction with this game plan. Nah, it ended up staying here and went sort of this way. But you know what I mean? Again, I'm always preparing for whatever anyway. But especially earlier days, there was times where I thought, all right, this is going to be, whether it's going to be, I'm going to be standing up, I'm going to finish him on the feet. And next minute it just went to the ground, you know what I mean? And I just beat him up on the ground, or complete opposite. That's talking about on a smaller scale, not getting into too much detail.
Yeah, just being able to be adaptable and change to the chaos of a fight, let's say. Yeah. That makes sense. And you bring up Joe. Okay. We got to talk about Joe because I mean, you guys have a good relationship. It seems. I mean, I remember when you guys were, training together down in Melbourne, you guys are bunking up. Having to share the room at Absolute for man. AFC and
Oh yeah, there. Sorry, I thought you were talking about another story. I had to share a room with him while I was fighting in the UFC too. but no, you're right, man.
Yeah. So I mean, what was your impressions when you first started training there with him, and what has he done different to enable to build that culture that you're talking about of having people who are adaptable, allowing people to work like that? What's he done different than other places that you would go?
Man, look, again, I couldn't tell you what's different, what is different, but, with Joe, again, he's always been, there's not it's hard. If you know yourself, there's a lot of gyms. I don't know if it's getting any better, but I don't think it ever was easy for gyms to go and train at other gyms, and you know what I mean? Not many people are going to do that. Just to be able to do that, and even a coach that understands that, I'm not doing this to be selfish, but you can't go there. Having trust in yourself and knowing oh no, it's all right. This is to evolve us. You know what I mean? Go there, and again, we can go there, and he's happy to adapt as well. You know what I mean? So we go and he watches me spar, and he's there. We're learning while we're doing this too. Don't get me wrong. We know a fair bit, but we're always learning. You've got to be able to adapt to whatever's happening. But one thing that Joe's always had is hard work, as well. He's always, again, that was my style anyway. And, he's always a situational type of trainer as well, which I love. So you can show someone. Technique is obviously key. You need to know a lot of techniques and drills, but being in positions and working things out yourself as well is another thing as well. So there's so much in between, if you get what I'm saying. There's movements, and there's skills and techniques, and then there's so much more. There's getting to a position to do that technique, or you know what I mean. A lot of times it's very hard to just teach that.
Yep.
But we've always done the live rounds, and we've always whether it's all right, start in this position and go live from there. We've done that from wrestling and clinch or whatever it is, and that's something that I believe really, really helped me, especially with the wall work. We were always big on wall work. Joe was from day one. It wasn't real big didn't think it was real big in Australia. People do it, but we done a lot. We did, a lot of it. And it was always situational. Like, even though we knew skills, we'll just put ourselves in them positions and just work from there. And then like the amount that we learn just from putting ourselves in that position so many times, you just start, building techniques. You just know what works and what doesn't. You know what's a good position, what's a strong base. You know when you're in this position, this works. You know when you're in that position, that works. You know this don't work here. You know what I mean? And it's hard to know that unless you're putting yourself in that position. And we always put ourselves in that position. So that's something that I think that, something that I remember really working, right? Even now, when I try and show techniques, there's so many things that's just built in me. I've never been taught it, but it's just my body knows. Why? Because we've been in that position a billion times. You get what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. That's actually something I've been talking about a lot with other people, just how it's really not about the technique. It's about, building that, that intuition and just those natural reactions out of your body that comes through practice and repetition.
100%.
And that's, you mentioned the war work, and I remember looking at your timetable once, and you guys have at least one dedicated class a week just on war work. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got two. We've got two sessions. Yes, yeah. So we've got two sessions, and we'll go live and we do technique. So we do a lot there. So that's again, I think it's everyone, like all of our guys are always very, very, very competitive on the wall. Especially when the guys fight, they're always strong. Again, they've always got the grit. They've always got the heart. You know what I mean? So that's something that, again, you don't want to go out and kill yourself. You want to be calculated in how you do all that. You just want to have a good balance, but hard work still will always need to be done. So, and we definitely do that.
Yeah, that's definitely not something that a lot of other gyms do, even to have one dedicated war work class a week. So to have two, and then to have the, UFC champion who's pretty damn good at war work. there might be something to it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and what you was, and again, like on the same topic, I think a lot it's changing, and now you're getting so many MMA gyms, but especially in Australia, one thing that Joe's always had, it was more of an MMA gym from the day one. And again, there was a lot of gyms that still did that, but you still see it today, where even UFC fighters, if they're doing kickboxing, they go to a kickboxing class and do a kickboxing class. If they're doing wrestling, they go to wrestling school. There's still guys that will go to separate aspects of the sport and train. And look, I get that. But at the same time, you need to do MMA sessions. You need to be able to blend it all together. You know what I mean? You need to, so we dedicate a lot of sessions to MMA specific stuff. So, we're an MMA gym. So obviously we do jiu-jitsu. There's going to be jiu-jitsu, but then we're going to incorporate MMA, jiu-jitsu type stuff. You know what I mean? Real MMA specific.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Little things like that. There's little details that works perfect for this, and might have to be changed a little for this. So we change a fair bit up like that as well. So we dedicate a lot of sessions to mixing it all up.
Yeah, okay. And the other thing I know you guys do is, in terms of mixing it up and bringing those different looks, you guys are always saying, any sparring part, open sparring or whatever on a Saturday, everyone welcome, other gyms welcome, you put the word out that if other gyms want to come spar, that's fine, which is, again, not many other places do that.
Yeah. Well, we look at it again, we're not trying to take these people, we want them to come with their coaches. We're not trying to take people's clients. It's nothing like that. It's just purely letting everyone know that you can come train here with us, get your rounds in. And, again, look at the bigger picture. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, you might have to fight someone you trained with, maybe. But I mean, what do you, again, I didn't care. Again, I told you that I always trained with as many people as I can. So I've trained with guys that I've fought or you know what I mean? So Jeremy Malaki, I trained with him before I fought him. And, things like that. So that's going to happen. But again, I was always looking at the big picture. I'm not looking at, but what if I fight this guy? I don't want to train with him. I was like, mate, do you want to get better or not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't worry about that. It's sparring. It's never going to be the same as a fight anyway.
Yep.
Then, obviously you can get a lot from sparring, but it's always going to be that little bit different once you get fight time anyway. And I think, again, I'm not going to try and knock people's head off as well. So like, I think, there might have been a false, because again, I've sparred with some guys and then they wanted to, they might want to fight. Like there's some that will be happy to accept the fight after that. And then I'm like, are you sure? Like, and then obviously the fight didn't go the way they planned. Or it's been the other way where someone's called me out and then I've trained with them and they didn't want that fight anymore. So it's, you know what I mean? So it's going to happen. But again, probably because I knew they called me out. And, So it's probably because, I knew they called me out, so I had like a little bit more to prove, and I just, so I would end up just letting them know, like, hey, you don't want this. But like, with other people, again, like, so with Jamie Malaka, we trained, and he ended up accepting the fight and thought he could beat me, and I was thinking, could it be because of that session? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because again, I'm not going to just try and again, like, you want to be competitive, but I'm not going to try and kill my training partners. It's not about that. I don't get paid in the gym.
Fair play. And I mean, there's probably is a testament to that mentality though that Jamie did end up making it to the UFC. Even after that fight was a pretty brutal, knockout that you got on him. But he obviously persevered probably because he had that mentality, same as you, to go train with everyone.
Yeah. And I didn't mean that in a bad way, like when I said that. But again, obviously you got to have that belief in you. So there's times where, you might not go good in a round, but you still know you can beat these people. And, so you got to have that belief. And at the time, I credit him really, because at the end of the day, we were both, especially in Australia at the time in featherweight division, we were both right. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of people are like, well, these guys got to fight. And that doesn't usually happen. And so I was always, I was the type of guy that'll fight anyone anyway. And he was, for him to take it on, good on him, you know what I mean? So it just shows you, his type, his belief. He knows in his belief, look, he's really good. But I mean, obviously that was my night. And, he's in the UFC now. He's a good fighter. He showed, mate, that was a cracker fight too, man.
It was.
His debut fight,
It was. It was wild.
Yeah.
So for you, where does that motivation then and belief come from, especially to take on everyone? Because, we do see people, take the easy fights, just try and pad their record to get to the UFC. And, that's one way of doing it, I guess. But I always look to you now as the example of, well, look at how he did it and what he's achieved. That's probably the better way to go about things. So how do you, what gave you that mentality to just accept all the tough challenges on the Australian scene? And
it's just like, I don't know. It's just, for me, maybe like, it probably just worked out for me. Because, you know what I mean? Like, luckily, my abilities and, it's MMA, MMA as well. Like, you can be a lot better than guys here, but you can still lose. Yep. So you can still say things went your way. So I was lucky to keep getting them wins up, even though I was taking on killers that people thought I wouldn't be able to beat, especially in heavier divisions. And that did, obviously, there was that one loss. So that's what got me the loss. Purely fighting someone I probably shouldn't have. It was very early in my career, fighting pound for pound number one in Australia in a division I should never been in.
Corey Nelson, he's a beast.
So it shows you that you shouldn't be, you know what I mean? Like, you probably, like, I can see why people won't be like that. But at the same time, when a lot of people, padding records and doing things like that, and you still need to be competitive. You still want to test yourself. You know what I mean? But I've always been the type of person that, even while I was in the UFC, so early before UFC, if I beat this guy, I wanted the fastest way to the top. You know what I mean? And to do so, you got to beat the best. That's how I looked at it. I looked, if I fight these guys, like even with Corey Nelson, if I fight him, he's number one pound for pound in Australia. If I beat him, I'm the man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's how I looked at it. And that's the same as when I was in the UFC. All right, Chad Mendes, I was there outside the rankings. Chad Mendes is going to win. I'm like, man, he's going to be ranked number 5 after this. That's going to shoot me straight through the ranks. No one calls out Chad Mendes, but I know that's going to push me forward. I want that fight. Same as Aldo. Aldo is he's ranked number 1. I'm going to have to fight him in Brazil on his home soil. He's absolutely killing people in these 3-round fights, but that's going to put me right. That's going to put me at number 1. So give me that fight. I know I can do it. I ain't going to find the easy way. I'm going to, like I said, it was earned, not given. I chose to earn my way to that belt. and I went and done it. And there's a lot of people that, might get lucky and get things, things will work out for them, and, they might get a bit of help along the way. But, I was just, whoever gets me there quicker, let's do it. Whoever I need to beat to get there, I'll do it. That's just how I was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember once after training up at Chatswood at VT1 that day, we went and got lunch, and you're talking about UFC, and we were bringing up something about just the pay scale or something like that, and there was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you're pretty much like, no, that's not going to cut it. I need more. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to get more. I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, this guy's committed. This guy, he's after it.
Well, as in, do you mean like, what do you mean as in when I'm trying to get that? As in like
as in you weren't going to be content with just getting there.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I thought that's where
going to be satisfied. We weren't just talking about, I want to have a fight and then just be a UFC veteran. You were talking about, no.
Exactly right. So I thought before I went off in a rant, I wanted to make sure that's what you were talking about, because I knew it was.
Ran away, sir. Rant away.
So there you go. So that's true, man. I've said it time and time again. Before I got that belt, I was like, I don't want to, I ain't just happy to be in the UFC. I'm going to be at the top. Like, and I was telling people, I go, I ain't happy with just being a number in the UFC. I'm going to get to the top. You know what I mean? I ain't just looking to get that contract and be like, yeah, I made UFC. That ain't good enough for me. I'm going to the top. And I was, saying that, and I was pretty vocal about that. And again, it's not cockiness. It was just, I knew I could do it, and I wasn't lying. So we're here now.
Ain't that the truth, mate? Ain't that the truth? So, I mean, it's a good point maybe to ask what advice you would give any young fighters. I mean, I know you got Colby Thickness coming out of your gym. He's one to keep an eye on, but, any advice you would give young fighters on how to go about things? Or
man, one thing that I love, and again, I was telling you, it sort of helps because I sort of explained this earlier on, about when I was talking about hard work and being put in positions and just always being, like just making it who you are. And to do so from the first days in the gym, you shy away from certain exercises, you shy away from hard work. You want to take the easiest training partner, easiest, you know what I mean? That's sort of going to be how, that could be who you become. Like, you will like maybe look for the easier way. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way. But if you're the type of person that, oh yeah, tomorrow's this crazy session, I'm going to go do it. We're meant to do it. I'm going to go do it. I ain't going to make an excuse to not turn up. All right. This guy's an absolute killer. Obviously, if it's someone that's going to break your arm, all right, don't go with him. But if this guy's, it's a hard round, I want him, I'm going to go there. Or, I ain't going to shy away, little things like that. Put yourself in, when you're doing a workout and the coach isn't looking, I can slow down now. Just little things, man. Just be comfortable at being uncomfortable. Put yourself in uncomfortable positions so you can adapt to being able to, again, you get what I mean? Like, let's make it who we are. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
Be comfortable in uncomfortable positions. That's my saying.
Yeah. Makes sense, especially in MMA. Like, there's no way around it that whether you like it or not, come fight night, you're going to be put in some uncomfortable positions. It's
100%. And even for your career, you're going to end up being there. But I mean, if you can suck it up for that first bit of, your career, or when you get in there and you just make it, again, it's just all you know. When you are on that assault bike, you don't have to have someone watching you. I look at these fucking numbers and I'm like, I need to hit these numbers, because I know I'm, what I mean? It's who I am. Again, I make it who I am.
Yep.
I'm not trying to impress these people. It's just, I know I'm going half, if I'm giving 50%, I know that, and that's going to fucking tear me apart. So I won't let it happen, because again, it's who I am. Let it be who you are. So get used to it nice and early, and you won't know any different. Someone tells you to do something, you're going to do your best you can, and you won't shy away.
That's beautiful. Oh, that's good advice for the young tackers out there looking to get into things. And I'm wondering, from that, that belief that you would do it, how did you then, transition into maybe going, across into New Zealand and hooking up with City Kickboxing? And was there ever any, how should I say? Now it's a common misconception that maybe that you're a New Zealander and that you're you're from City Kickboxing. So has there ever been any, does that get on Joe's nerves at all, or has there any been, how did it come to go to City Kickboxing to the stage where now people think that that's where you're from?
Man, it's just, you got to remember, obviously, everyone everyone out here knows that everyone in Australia, or most of the people in Australia that are in the sport know that I train there. But you're going to get the mainstream media or whoever, they're going to, City Kickboxing got 2 champions, and then a lot of people, that's what they're going to see, and that's all they know. They don't look any deeper. People that know the game probably know, you know what I mean? But it's so it does. Obviously, a lot of people do think they think I'm New Zealand. They literally think I'm Kiwi. So it's funny, but obviously, again, I'm based out of a freestyle fighting gym. A lot of people know that, but I wouldn't say it gets on. Look, I'm sure a lot of people come up to Joe and be like, "Oh, why they keep," and that probably annoys him. Because people are coming up to him going, "Oh, why are they giving him?" You know what I mean? So that other people, but he's okay. Obviously, he's all for it. He knows that we're just we're part of the, we're all one team. We go over there and it's just we're part of the team. You know what I mean? So we just look at it. I mean, you can't pay attention to things. Joe knows that as well. If I pay attention to little details like that, or then same as say with haters and people that are going to say negative things, they're always going to be there. You can't pay attention to that.
Yep.
So you just, I'm sure he's fine with it, but I'm sure it probably got to his nerves. It got on his nerves here and there though as well. I could only imagine.
I'll have to speak to
I
Joe
wouldn't blame him, really. I wouldn't blame him.
So, now I have heard a story that apparently, Joe, speaking of getting on Joe's nerves, Joe and Brad Riddell, have a bit of back and forth or something. Can you shed any light on that?
Oh, banter?
Yeah,
harsh banter?
Yeah, is that what it is? I don't know.
Well, you know how you get, it's not, they're just at each other, but I mean, that's, to be honest, that's everyone over there.
Yeah.
Everyone over there, we bring Frank Hickman, and it's just constant banter.
Yeah.
I love banter. I love the banter. But sometimes I'll be fight week, and I can't even have a normal conversation with these guys because they're just constantly, I'll be going, "Oh, guys, what do you want to get to eat?" "Oh, yeah, fuck it." And they just carry on. I'm like, "Fuck, I want to eat." Shut up for a second. But I love it. But at the same time, that's just who they are. You know what I mean? They're just the boys will be boys, and they're just constantly giving each other shit. Joe and obviously, we live at, Joe lives at, when we're in New Zealand, a lot of times we're staying at Brad's. So we live with Brad. Yeah, so obviously it's a love-hate relationship where, you get 2 mates that just constantly give each other shit and it never ends. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
But it seems to be usually Joe and everyone else. So he's like that with so many, you get, like I said, you get 2 people that just always go at it. It's always Joe and someone else. But
that's classic. Yeah, just bit of the lads having a laugh. Nothing wrong.
Actually, that's Brad as well. Brad and everyone else too. Brad and Joe just bantering and carrying on with angry Brad, we call him.
Angry Brad. Well, speaking of that, the other story I heard about was something about one time you broke Brad's headgear or something at Tiger Muay Thai. No.
Head clash.
What was it? A head clash?
Split him.
What happened then?
Oh yeah. So that was just because we usually wear headgear.
Yeah.
And so that's probably where you got that from. It's like, where the fucking headgear? Everyone would have been there. Eugene and Joe would have been up as saying, where the fuck is the headgear? But it's just, it was just, I think what I try to do, you know how, a lot of times I level change and I come, I think I went for a level change. I went to go sort of a double leg, or I can't remember what it was, or something like that. But I went level change and he sort of went for the sprawl, but then I sort of bailed out on it, and we just sort of head clashed. It was I don't know, it was just, and he was just giving me shit, blamed me for it, and I was blaming him for it. So it was one of them things that he blamed me, but I blamed him.
Classic.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Actually, I remember it was. I went for a single leg.
Ooh, okay.
I went for high crotch single leg. So I had my head on the, how you get the head on the chest, nice high on the single leg. Step that right leg over. So frill punch and then step over right leg, went to the single. And so your level changed a little bit like that. But he sort of went down to sprawl and just headbutt.
Okay.
So I don't know. Who do you blame for that? I just went for a single leg, you know what I mean?
Part of the game. Part of the game.
Part of the game.
What are you
I
going to
tried
do?
telling him that.
Wear your headgear, I guess. That's
That's what you do, yeah.
That's the moral of the story.
But mate, trust me, fucking he deserves it from the shit that he's fucking done to me. He split me with a spinning back spinning back elbow
Yikes.
while we were fucking wrestling.
How'd that happen?
We're wrestling. Okay, so it wasn't legit spinning back elbow, but you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's harder to explain. I went for a single leg and accidentally headbutted him. He somehow fucking spinning back elbowed me in the head, you know, so you can see, you know what I mean? You can see why I blame him all the time. Now, well, that was just, I think, I had a sore shoulder. So I ended up, we're just sort of playing around. I had his hip and he went to turn, and because I couldn't hold him with my other arm, he sort of turned quicker than he expected. And as he's turned, he just left his elbow up a little bit and just went, you know, he tried to keep his elbow nice and tight so I wouldn't get the underhook, and then bang. But, mate, you know about the broken rib too, yeah?
No, what happened there?
No, not broken rib. When I tore my intercostal muscle.
Oh, is that the rib cartilage where the ribs separate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah. It's not much fun.
Yeah. So
what happened
the
there?
Intercostal muscle. Oh, that was 2 days before my fight.
Oh,
2 days before my Darren
that's
Elkins
right.
fight.
Yes, yeah.
That was Brad Riddell.
Yep. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, now that you mention that, yeah, I do.
2 days before my Darren Elkins fight. So you can see what position I've been in from injuries. But again, like, obviously, we're both brutes, so we tend to injure each other all the time.
Well, that's going to happen in this sport. It's a rough sport, right?
Yes.
So, but
exactly.
I think that actually, linking it back into what you're talking about with being adaptable and having that adaptability no matter what. I mean, being able to be adaptable to a rib injury 2 days before a fight, adapting to head clashes, adapting to those things in sparring. I mean, that's all part of that adaptability, right?
Exactly right. 100%. Exactly. And then if you constantly, I can dwell on, things going wrong, and obviously things are, there's going to be some pretty negative things happening in camps. And, if you constantly just focus on them and let them get to you, man, it's going to be hard. It's going to be real tough. But if you constantly find ways around it, try and look, I know it's, I don't want to be cliche, stay positive and look, but, sometimes you just really need to, you know what I mean? And whatever it is, like I look, that was pretty hard to stay positive with a torn intercostal muscle. I couldn't even, literally I couldn't even lay in bed. I'd lay in bed, I couldn't move. Then because I was still water loading, because I still have to fucking make weight. And I'm like, oh man, couldn't even get up. So it would take me 5 minutes just to get up, and I'm in pain. And then I'm trying to cry because I thought, I don't know if I can fight. Then I can't cry because it's hurting me too much. So I'm just like, what do I do? You know what I mean? So it's just absolute chaos. But man, it was nuts. But we still got it done. Again, we adapted. Even just training, I couldn't even train. I couldn't even throw a right hand before. I couldn't hit pads and throw my right hand. If I threw my right hand, it took the wind right out of me. I couldn't throw my right hand. So it was just, all right, once the adrenaline rush comes, hopefully you won't be in as much pain and see how you go. And then there was adapts that I made in there. I think I adapted probably too much because I reckon the adrenaline rush worked a charm, but I still had the rib injury on my mind a lot. So there was times where I dropped in and I was worried about, I love my ground and pound. I'll just fucking jam on him and just cave there. That's my thing, especially back then. But I was so worried about him jamming his legs or his knees into my rib. I curled up and went to go in like that. Then he was getting up. Then I just went for guillotines. It's hard to explain, but that's why I was going. I wouldn't usually go for a guillotine when I just dropped someone and landed on their back, but I've slowly went in because I was worried about jamming into the hips. And then because he got up, he was there. And again, I didn't want to flatten him back out because I was worried about my ribs. So I just tried to go for a guillotine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I would have had to. I think if I just threw bombs and do what I normally do, I would have finished the fight. And I don't think I would have felt it. Because again, the adrenaline rush fucking worked the charm. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It can certainly change things quickly. But yeah, you adapted, you overcame. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Overcame and conquered.
That's it, mate. It certainly did. Another, maybe you could tell this story, I think I heard it Joe mention, but actually I think it's a great example of adapting, is when you were fighting in PXC, and I think one of the fighters there maybe was, maybe had a bit of lotion on, was a bit greased up or something
oiled himself up.
There was a bit of oil. Can you take us through that story, that fight? What happened?
And Joe, he was at my early tournament, so he came with me, just me and him. And so we done the whole process together. We're over there, and again, we're in a different country. First time fighting in Guam, PXC. And like we go there, and again, this guy was a Guam boy. Kyle Reyes he's a good fighter, but I think back then I actually talked to him not long ago. He's like a lot different now. Like you'd see that he's grew up a little bit. He was a bit young and wanted to be gangster type when I fought him, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But I believe he's changed a fair bit. But yeah, so when I fought him and while we were fighting, I straight away grabbed him and I'm like, he was oiled up, and I could tell he was oiled up. And, I was like fighting him. I remember having his back, had him in the rear naked. He was swiveling. So he was literally sliding, doing like an old, like he would swivel. I would get back on top, he'd swivel again. While I had my legs around him, locked in, he was just able to still just swivel in me like that. I'm like, what the hell? I'm grabbing him, just sliding everywhere. Like, I mean, proper oil. It was oil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whinging, he's oiled up. Like, I'm trying to whinge, and going back to the corner, I'm fuming. So you could imagine how angry I am. And Joe's trying to calm me down, and at the same time thinking, man, these guys, we're in a different country. They're going to rob us. You know what I mean? They're doing this on purpose. But Alex is going nuts. I need to control him. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to calm him down, because I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And I'm flipping out. And, the ref at the time was just like, oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But, and then the second round, same thing happens. And then he's starting to gas. So then I end up still, again, adapting and just doing what I had to do. And I was beating him up anyway. And the gas. And then the ref grabs him and goes, oh, I can feel oil. I'm going to go get him checked. I'm like, now that he's tired, I thought it was a part of their plan. Or now he's tired, you want to check him, give him time to relax and get his breath back. I'm going, this is all, I'm fuming again. Joe's trying to calm me down.
The game is
rigged.
At
the same time, and then like we end up fighting, he wiped him down a bit. And then after the fight, he held him and then actually got the commissioner to come in. He goes, I want you to check him, because he knew something was up, because he ended up feeling it eventually. And then, so they end up finding it in his drink bottle. I got told that the ref ended up telling us, because you were right. We found it in his drink bottle. So they went in. So, they do the checkup.
Yeah.
Do the checkup, then walks in and then just sprays him, spraying through they spray through the cage sometimes.
Yeah.
Just went, and then he's just sort of got it in hand. And then, when they act like they're just sort of patting themselves up and just oiled his whole body up. That's what, because Joe even remembers him doing that, but didn't realize just because some fighters do that. But that's how he spread it all over himself. And mate, I'm telling you, it was thick. I remember my shorts. I remember wearing my shorts, and the shorts were just full of oil. And I'm like, Sean, look at this. I put water on it, and squeezed it out, and you just see oil and water all through the ground. It was nuts. Yeah, Joe had to calm me down a fair bit then, you know what I mean? We adapted and got the win away.
Adapted, got it done. Surviving, thriving. I love the idea of Joe having to calm you down in the middle of a cage fight. So you can. It's
usually me trying to calm him down all the time, but he had to calm me down this time.
Don't get too angry, mate. We've got a cage fight to worry about here,
Yeah. He's like, you got a fight to still worry about. Relax. We'll worry about it later. But mate, it was crazy. He was just slipping out of weird positions, but actually I got put in a pretty bad, I would say bad position. He had me in a position. I don't think it was a triangle, but he almost had a triangle maybe. And then I end up slipping out. So that could have been worked against him maybe. So maybe. I'll probably,
That's classic. Mate, I'll finish off with, it's been a great chat. I'll just finish off with one last question, just to wrap it up. Is just basically, is there anything that you could think of, advice you give your younger self when you were just starting out training? You can look back and say, is there anything that you can think of that you'd tell yourself?
Oh man, I'm all about, how people say you learn so much from your experience and all that. And the way we've done things, I'm happy with how I did them.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I wouldn't change anything, or there's things that I believe in that I truly believe have helped me through my career. Maybe just, like I said, even though I always was a hard worker, let him really know that, let him understand it, let him understand these things that I know now. Luckily enough, I went through that process, but I didn't know it. I went through that process, it just sort of become who I am, and then I just look back at it and realize that that's why I am who I am. Maybe I just let myself know, let him know these things, just so you understand it, so you could use it the best way you can. So, maybe I could have used it a little bit better, and maybe I could be even more fitter and stronger right now. You never know. Maybe I could have worked even harder. You know what I mean? Or, just things like that again. But I'm proud of who I am. I wanted to become the champion. I wanted to be me through the whole process. So that's something. So, but if I could tell my young self, maybe, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to say that. You know what I would say?
What's that?
Don't commit to Game of Thrones because you're going to get let down in the last season.
Season 7, mate. Season 7. Didn't that, mate?
It rocked me.
I didn't keep watching after the end of season 6, just when the wall came down in like 10 minutes, and I'd be building that wall up for years. That was going to be the big battle. And then the dragon, it's done in a minute. It killed it. So.
Oh mate, exactly.
I hear you.
Mate, that I could do a whole episode or a whole podcast on just that fucking. Anyway,
happy days. But I do like it. That's that adaptation, that champ mentality of what could you do different? Maybe work a bit harder. We got the champ.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's beautiful. Alex, thanks so much for your time. If people want to get in touch, I guess it's Instagram, Facebook. You've got a new program coming out. I've seen you advertise. What's going on with that?
It's a 10-week strength and conditioning program. So my specific strength and conditioning program that I do with my trainer, we are now live with it, so people can actually do that with me. So that we got the footage of me training. So pretty much people can be my training partner for 10 weeks. So they're going to do my exact workout. So it's not just a program we're pretending we're doing. You actually see me do it, and you do it with me. So it's cool. It's my specific strength program that everyone has access to. And there's obviously a lot more details, but you can go to that trainwithvolko.com. It's it's cool. It's pretty good. We've had a lot of interest, so we're very, very happy with how things are going.
Beautiful. So trainwithvolko.com. Learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, survive, adapt, overcome.
Adapt.
It's all
be
good
comfortable
stuff.
in uncomfortable positions, baby.
That's it.
That's
mate.
What you need to know through life.
That's it. I love it. Alex, thanks so much for your time, mate. I'd love to do it again sometime in the future, but I know it's busy being the champ, mate. It's hard work, so I appreciate you taking time out of your day very much.
No worries, mate. Next time we'll get more into more of the stories, maybe some McDonald's stories and 10 cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers, eh? Yeah. I forgot about that one. Well, next time, mate. You have a good night, mate. Take care.
You too, champ. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
You have been listening to the Sonny Brown Breakdown. Until next time, you can visit sonnybrown.net to find out more ways to break it down.